This is the story of Brainy the RPG cat, and in many ways it's a very typical story. One day an old man found a stray kitten in a library, and he chose to keep it as a mascot, and to keep him in gentle company. But this was no ordinary old man, for he was Bosch, the high elf headmaster of the Library of Dinah, a very not ordinary library dedicated to the goddess of all living knowledge. And before long, Bosch would learn that this was also no ordinary cat.
Hello?
Learning that the cat was intelligent, the wizard took it upon himself to teach him to read and write, and learn history and the ways of magic. He was quite taken with the lessons he got from games using cards and dice. And soon the cat grew into an adult, a scholar, a full-fledged wizard in his own right, and once and forever one of the most dedicated librarians in Denier. The wizard bestowed upon him a name in the tradition of all cat people. He who astounds with his immediately brilliant ideas. But the library wizards have taken to calling him Brainy the RPG cat. And let me tell you, it hasn't been a bed of roses.
Brainy the cat. Brainy the RPG cat. It's a kitty cat.
Hello, cats and kittens, felines and felidae, humans and variant humans, and every race, class, and subclass. Welcome to another installment of Brainy the RPG Cat. We're going to be doing Writing the RPG, is that I'm hoping to get a few thousand words in on the Realm of Infinite Mana, which I'm hoping to be able to release as the first Brainy the RPG Cat related game book. And so we got some things to describe, starting with the Crown Prince's palace. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Okay, so first things first, this stream is brought to you by GreatMedia.Games with for inexpensive TCG single cards. Visit GreatMedia.Games and use the code TENFINITY at checkout for 10% off your online purchase. This stream is also brought to you by the Well of the Worlds Kickstarter. Sign up for the mailing list for Well of the Worlds is the upcoming module for the Prowlers and Paragons engine from Michael Serbrook, Rem Alternus Productions, and Mobius Worlds Publishing. Once you sign up for the mailing list, you should be there for when the Kickstarter officially launches on April the 4th. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Let's just go ahead. Let's get right to the writing. Go ahead and start writing more of the official game book for the Realm of Infinite Mana. Alright, so like I said, we're about, 4,664 words into this and a mere 9 pages. I'm sure that, we have a significant amount more to do, but in the meantime, let's just focus on one thing at a time and start creating the concept for the... Okay, I just realized that that capture did not disappear. So that's the thing, is I have something turned on that I shouldn't. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Okay, now we can see the Word file. Alrighty. So, let me see the palace. Start to pants, as is commonly referred to in creative writing situations. Start to just kind of pull ideas out from your pants and see if you can find something that's going to fill out a meaningful paragraph. The Palace of the Crown Prince of Metaluna is an awe-inspiring building. Ivory colored from the top of its tower spires to the rounded entrance of its front gate. It was erected 1,500 years ago by the okay, a throwaway name here, Artemis, Ares, Metaluna, the founder of the city. It had its namesake because the place is named after him. Let's see. Ares had hoped that Metaluna will continue into its future to be a I'm here, just writing. Well, I appreciate that you're here, OS Devin. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let me see. Continue to be a democratic kingdom with a ruler that was benevolent to all intelligent races. To that end, I'm pray you're doing well tonight. Oh, I'm doing just fine. Things are going at a pretty decent clip for me. I can't complain. Let's see. Then he designed the palace to contain a massive entrance into a outdoor courtyard that was capable of fitting the entire town's council in its perimeter. In more recent years, however, the governance of Metaluna has shrunk to me see. Has shrunk to a mere 24 officials, and most of the daily airing of grievances. Governance is handled directly by Metaluna's current crown prince. It occurs to me I never came up with a surname for Bosch and Frederick. So this might be interesting. Okay, so go over to look this up. Parts of a leaf. All right. Petoli, axil, stem. Petiole. That's references the stem area of a leaf. Okay, so yeah, I think that's probably it. Petiole. All right. Surname for Bosch. Yeah, well, it's that he's not going to use it. He's going to call himself the Archwizard Bosch. I don't know what the low-hanging fruit would be. Maybe like Bosch Machina, Bosch, well, I mean, so Bosch, of course, named after the Renaissance, Hieronymus Bosch. Hieronymus, yeah, so that's the one. The son of the Archwizard, Bosch, who had taken the throne after a failed attempt to put the Archwizard to crown the Archwizard. Okay. Given the out of respect for the Crown Prince's for Bosch's refusal to become the first in his family to become royalty. Frederick, to this day, merely chooses to refer to himself as the crown prince. All right. So I feel I need to give a second paragraph to this, simply to the fact that I can't just end on the fact that Frederick doesn't actually want to be the king. The palace currently houses the Crown Prince Frederick, his wife, Steppel of the family Waterlily, Steppel, currently houses the Crown Prince, his wife, Steppel, half elf princess, of the family Waterlily, and their 6-year-old son. Their son, Wallace. Yeah, alright. Well, I think I'm getting too W. Peter. Their union unites the half-elves, aristocracy, let's see, of the ancient elf aristocracy of the ancient realm of their union unites the elf aristocracy of the ancient grasslands of, and so what would be an early elf civilization? Something, you know, akin to being like Greece or like ancient Greece. Elder ground. The union unites the elf aristocracy of the ancient grasslands of Elder Ground with the city dwelling Metalunan Metalunites. Significantly, this is the first pair of half-elf royals to ascend. This is the first family to ascend to the throne. A fact that is still in contention. Well, that is still controversial amongst several high elf priests of the old country. All right. Okay, where can we go from here? Nevertheless, Frederick does all in his ability to maintain the ancient traditions that were set before him in the by the Medalunan by the Metalated Councils of the past. Many of whom consist of high elf families that sit on the city's council. All right. Which still sit on the city's. Still sit on the city's councils. City's council to this day. Okay, that's a better way of putting it. Frederick enjoys a sovereignty of relative peace to which he spends a significant amount of time practicing the bow and arrow, his a holdover from a time when he served as Metaluna's lone forest ranger. This family is also somewhat infamously known for, unwittingly spawning the yearly tradition of the cake. So, tradition of the cake. The tradition of the cake goes, tradition of the cake, as every year, a multi-layered anniversary cake is delivered from the northern forest and is set upon by goblins. Over the course of time, it has taken larger and larger, it has required larger and larger. Security teams from both kingdoms to keep the ravenous goblins from running away with the sugary trophy. With varying success per year. All right. So a multi-layer anniversary cake is delivered from Frederick's high elf in-laws. All right. Okay, so that's good for the palace. And I think that mostly covers, all of the areas that are in Metaluna. Introduction to Metaluna, the Bricks District, the Market District, the bridges, the palace. Yeah, I believe that's everything. So, one thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to start describing the Northern Forest, because I've unwittingly created a new area based on, the necessity in order to explain how the royal family operates. And so that's something I can write. Something else I also wanted to get to is I wanted to get to the Basin Archipelago. And I might just start writing the Basin Archipelago paragraph because we've already used that a significant amount of time in the actual show, so there's a little bit more information on it. Okay. So 50 miles to northeast of Metaluna in the say open ocean is an archipelago consisting of more than 50 charted islands known as the Basin Archipelago. These islands were mostly deserted, with the exception of the mercantile, now widely considered to be the capital of the island nations. Okay. Well, except for the Merchant Isle, not widely considered the capital of the island nations, which was originally occupied by several orcs and lizard humans. Roughly 100 years ago, the Basin Archipelago was considered to be a hotbed of pirate activity. With the let me see. The basin was considered to be a hotbed of pirate activity, with many of its island effectively colonized by exiles and criminals from the mainland. With many of its islands effectively colonized by exiles and criminals from the mainland. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. having the freedom to continue to wreak havoc on the trade city of Metaluna. Many of these pirates considered themselves direct associates of the filthy animals Thieves Guild, which exists on Metaluna's Bridges District. The kingpin of this criminal guild, a man, well, you know, man in quotation marks. Hello, Queen Vampiress. Alright. Infamous pirate. So, I noticed that, yeah, I'm having, a few dropped frames. I'm hoping that it's not doing too much of a damage to the actual stream. And it's strange that, these things are just kind of randomly going downward as I'm doing nothing except typing here on in a word processor. But, alright. Yeah, thank you for coming into the stream, Queen Vampiress. How are you doing tonight? By the name of Jolly Roger. Was deemed the de facto ruler of these islands and the attempt to diplomatically marry the basin with the government of the, with the government of the mainland, was continued to be a major concern of the Metalunan court for nearly a century. Well, no, 100 years. Not well. That by itself is a millennium. Okay, for the majority of its existence. All right. And so blah blah blah, some other stuff happened. Let me see. In recent years, the basin has been managed by the Archduke Duke Pierre de la Fontaine, a former City Watch official who successfully overpowered the elite in the basins and arrested Jolly Roger, where he has begun to spend his sunset years behind bars in the former courthouse, former guild house that in the former pirate guild house, which the Archduke has converted into a prison. Okay. While the mainland government now defers all legal matters to the Archduke, there are some who dwell on the island who are still loyal to Jolly Roger and frequently plot to have the Archduke thrown out. Additionally, the rule of the reign of the Duke has the reign of the Archduke has not extended to many of the islands that make up the remainder of the basin, are the elite in Merchant Island. Okay. Particularly, rumors abound that there remains one hidden pirate enclave somewhere within the Isles, where the pirates, once loyal to Roger, and where the pirates, once loyal to Roger, still plot in a plot away well, where the pirates once loyal to Roger still operate, the contraband that distinguish his reign. All right. Okay. Because of the uncertainty, many still avoid visiting the basin Lego as they feel that the Archduke does not have the land under the amount of control they believe he does. Under the amount of control he believes he does. However, the passage to these isles has never been limited to anyone possessing even the tiniest sea vessel. So, therefore, the isles are continue to be populated by a great variety of intelligent species. Many of whom are seeking to find their own fortune in the lawless pirate-filled lands. Okay, so then I need to start coming up with basic areas. This is probably more than likely going to require me to make a map, because I'm just going to have to number every one of the 50 islands, and then I'm going to have to just provide a small description of each one. Probably the one I can write, though, is the one for Merchant Isle. Alright. Put those there. So let me see. I've just gone slightly over the 4,000 words mark. I've gone from 4,000 to about 5464. So so at this point I'm even like halfway to 6,000 words. Let's see. So you gotta turn off the B. Alright. Considered to be the largest of the islands in the basin. The Merchant Isle is So, the Merchant Isle lays the furthest southwest of all the islands and is a clear first destination for anyone who hopes to explore further into the archipelago. And originally the trade capital of the islands, it has since been co-opted by the Baron, by the Archduke de la Fontaine, to be a de facto prison continent. Well, prison. I mean, how do they used to describe Australia? Used to be a prison continent. Used to be belong to the belonging to the British. The prison continent specializing in the arrest and asset forfeiture of individuals engaged in the act of piracy. This, like within many this, like within many areas of the basin, splits the rulership of the land into two. People who can prove that their wares are legitimate are still allowed to sell okay, people who can prove their wares are legitimate are still allowed to sell within a bazaar which has been built outside of the walls of the former of Jolly Roger's former, how did I explain that before? Former pirate guild house. Creating a strange contrast wherein where a vast outdoor marketplace surrounds a converted prison. The second largest building is on the Isle is a mansion created largely out of natural clay, which again belonged to sea's coming. Which again belonged to Jolly Roger until it was seized by the Archduke. This mansion now houses the majority of the city guard loyal to the Archduke. And serves as a barracks, mess hall, and weapons hold for the newly created order. They also many of the businesses which exist on the Merchant Isle were established in the time of Jolly Roger. The most prominent of which is the Bilge Tavern. Owned by Marge. This is what I never thought of her last name too. Oglethorpe. A former well-renowned circus strong woman and martial artist. Nobody attempts to dissolve the tavern for fear that they run afoul of Marge and her deadly invincible fists. Therefore, the tavern remains open to all, and the tavern remains open to all, and serves as neutral ground for the two warring factions on the Isle. That takes us right to our numero uno. Give that a save. The third most prominent building in the Chant Isles is the Starborn Lighthouse, situated on the southeast corner of the island. The Starborn Lighthouse was originally owned by former naval officer Robert Starborn, who was believed to secretly be a wizard specializing in the astronomical arts, in the study of astronomical based magic. Many people have explored the lighthouse, but each have come back with a different story. One where an individual was found transported between 100 identical rooms before finding the entrance. Another who swore he was transported to Premistera's nearest moon, and nearly suffocated. Before he was mercifully transported back. There are also some who claim that they knew people who sought to explore the lighthouse. That never returned. And so I might have to start to subsection some of this, but this is, yeah, basically what I want for the Merchant Isle. Many see the broad islands that make up the basin as the greatest adventure of their lifetimes. But for the mage set, a true challenge would be to unravel the mystery behind the Starboard Lighthouse. All right. So let me see. Okay, I wanted Metaluna to be in this book. I wanted the Merchant Isles to be in this book. I'm trying to think about some of the other places that actually belong on Premestera that need to be in this guide. I think the War-Torn Lands needs to be one. The War-Torn Lands is just my slight left turn on the concepts that we had discussed in Eberron. And so it is, yeah, just kind of the slightly more canon place that automatons, especially automatons like our own Autodoc Blue 37 come from. I think I got that right. I'm always questioning that. Did I get Otto's name right in this section when I did the introduction this time? All right. So War-Torn Lands has to be here. So does Solaris. Well, no, actually, Solaris still kind of seems like it would exist in some dimension to me. It would need to, because it's basically where the underworld becomes the overworld. So this might actually be where I need to start inventing areas. You know, by the time I'm finished writing this, yeah, I'm going to have 50 pirate islands and 2 or 3 other continents, so yeah, I'll have plenty. I'm going to take a break for a nonce. I'm going to actually, yeah, just straighten this out, because I realized at some point I had lost my justified left. So make sure that that's still a part of this document. Trying to think what we've gone over that actually might also be going into this book, as opposed to the third book that I have planned, which is called Brainy's Guide to Nowhere of Particular Importance. Let's see. So yeah, episode 1, we technically went to Barovia, but we weren't even really there for very long because all we had to do is we just needed to stop Lord Terrapin and his pumpkin creatures. Episode 2, yeah, we went to Il Solarius. Episode 3, we went to we went to the Basin Archipelago. Episode 4, we went to the war-torn lands. Episode 5, well, we stayed in in episode 5 we just stayed in Metaluna. In episode 6, we went into Marin's community, and so that was called Metalunath. I mean, not Metalunath, it was called Corlanth. And then in then we have episode 7, which is upcoming, and it's mostly going to take place in the other module that I've been writing with Mimi at Shy Bunny Servant on Twitter. And so, yeah, the majority of that is going to be taking place in that world, which is called the Baron's Wasteland. So, I hate to think that I've just hit a wall, because I probably haven't. There's probably lots that's left behind in my outline that I still need to write about. So I can start just making stuff up. I can start doing a hat pull, and I can start just talking exclusively about the area that I had only just created during this playthrough, which is going to be the Northern Woods. And so the Northern Woods has to be a covenant of high elves, and it also happens to be a place where in the lower areas a ton of goblins live. And so that is to assist the development of some characters that I have, like Lolly the Goblin, who works in the merchant town selling potions, and apparently, yeah, it's a place where all of the Prince Frederick's in-laws tend to live. Okay, so, well, first I'm going to try to make a bid at writing for the War-Torn Lands, and if I can't... And so between that and possibly making up the first few paragraphs for the Northern Woods, I think I might be able to, eke out just enough writing to complete this stream. Alright, so let's see. The War-Torn Lands are so named because of a war that lasted 100 years, 2 centuries ago. Once a prosperous continent, so once it was a prosperous continent, looting and pillaging, and then poof, it was dumb as a doornail. Once a prosperous continent, and the birth How do they usually put that? The birth navel, the birth, I think it is the birth navel. I might change that later. I just don't like that. I don't like the sound of navel being into that. Many, and maybe origin point. That's better. Origin point of a multitude of sciences and technologies that were that are still with us to this day. The constant, vengeful fighting between a handful of elf, dwarf, or elf, dwarf, probably not gnome or halfling, because I think they're a bit more peace-loving than that. Between a handful of elf, dwarf, orc, and animal person and animal person and were person. And were person communities. Scorch the sky and the earth of this continent. Leaving nothing but a multitude deserted waste and abandoned civilizations. Most significant in the world tournament. Most significant. One of the most significant developments within the war-torn lands was the development of the creation of a new spirit of automatons as a new species. Originally developed amidst elf and dwarf civilizations. The automatons, say, well, originally developed amidst elf and dwarf civilizations as a means to supplement waning armies on both sides. The automaton species continued the automaton species not only has its origins in the war-torn lands, but 2 or 3 areas of their intelligently designed evolution took place. While on the continent, while on the continent. All right. So far, so good. We're already up to 6,000 words. So, I understand that, something in the neighborhood of 1,000 words, 100,000 words is a full novel. But I personally believe that we're not going to actually make it that far. I think probably something in the neighborhood of 50,000 words, and also pictures and maps and everything else that's needed, that's required to make the game book, is going to probably just make up the majority of the final thing. So let's see. Well, we shall soon see. How much information I'm going to have to put together for each of these areas, and then still have room for tables for basic animals, tables for any kind of vehicles that might exist, tables for pre-made characters, and just effectively everything that we saw when we covered Prowlers of Paragon's Ultimate Edition when on this stream earlier. Let's see. Okay. On the continent, the original automatons were fighting machines that lacked significant intelligence until they were naturally upgraded through the use of magic, specifically the development of a sentient core, which was placed in a automaton head to give it the appearance of sentient thought, and therefore more versatile abilities on the battlefield. However, the continued accumulation of intellectual and intellectuality, continued accumulation of intellectuality and empathy within the sentient cores began an evolution within the automatons, inside the automatons, that continue to move forward without intervention from another intelligent being. All right. In recent years, automatons originally built during the Great War have exhibited enough intelligence and emotion for the greater realms to recognize automatons as their own self-sustaining species. However, many still fear that the sentient cores within automatons may still be growing, inevitably giving form to a species that have the potential to live forever and accumulate more than any other species can in a lifetime. All right. And now I need something about now I need something about the Wizards University. The war-torn lands is also known as the site of the only full-fledged wizard university on the entire planet. Well, on Wizard University in Premistera. This simply named Wizard University its establishment dates back to the year following the the end of the Great War, and is intended to remind individuals about how the horror and hate of large cultures of people will lead to their destruction, despite however, despite the noble founding of the institution, despite the noble founding of the institution, the Wizard University continues to grow into an insular institution. Unaware of how it's accepted or elitist and selective process of tenuring professors is giving rise to some of the prejudices which caused the Great War. Fortunately, an acumen among wizards to eschew schools in favor of apprenticeships, self-study, and the commitment to creating open libraries. Say among some wizard guilds to eschew schools in favor of apprenticeship, self-study, and the commitment to creating open libraries has prevented Wizard Library Wizard University from being the last word in all intellectual matters. Okay. I'm gonna leave that there. We're going just above the bottom of the hour, so I'm gonna start to see if I can write this section on Northern Woods. Some believe that the use of the term northern woods is isn't completely accurate. This broad area of heavy foliated, I think that's how you say that, foliated. Oh, well, I'm clicking on it because I'm looking for a definition. This broad area of heavy, well, okay, I'm just gonna have to look it up on Google. Okay, foliated. Yeah. Decorated with leaves or leaf-like motifs, okay. Consisting of thin sheets or laminate. Okay, well, one of the two. That's continent directly north of Metaluna. Is home to three, serves as the origin of three distinct and unrelated species. The area furthest south within the woods is established as the birth home of the goblin. So that's not the way to spell birth home, it seems. As data leading back to the prehistoric past has consistently outlined the area as the origin point for many evolved species of goblin, including the hobgoblin and bugbear. Including the hobgoblin and bugbear species. The sheer innumerability of the, well, not innumerability, innumerateness, yeah. You know, the sheer number of population. Of goblin population has allowed the goblin species to expand all across Premistera. However, a significant amount of goblin colonies still exist in the northern woods. Frequently disguised amongst the trees, and deep and within colonies that are partially buried underground. Okay. In contrast, the northern woods, especially in areas leading the furthest north into the nearby mountaintops, are considered and so I'm saying that I'm saying by this that the goblins and the high elves share a civilization point, and I know this is going to include the animal people and the war people too, but I still need to create an area that is specifically considered to be dwarf country, and so yeah, that is something else I'm probably going to need to add to this. Alright. High elf culture. Sure. High elf mythologies often suggest that okay, bye Brainy the RPG Cat, have a good night. Goodbye Queen Vampiress, thank you very much for tuning into the stream. Often suggests that the elf race in its entirety was born within the clouds, and the elves and from there the elves walked downward onto the into the area that is the northern woods to begin their civilization. While we are not certain that this was the creation point of all elf kind, we can confirm that the oldest still existing high elf civilization. Called, I mean, the elf burrow, but I think I need another word for burrow because it's not really a burrow. Okay, time to pull out the thesaurus. Called, okay, burrow thesaurus. Well, let's try town first. All right. Yeah, borough is one of the things that is town. Okay, well. Metropolis, megalopolis, pueblo, concubation, municipality, hamlet, whistle stop. Whistle stop would be neat. I think probably I would name a dwarf civilization that. Municipality, probably not. Well, instead of town, well, what was I gonna do? I was gonna do borough. Okay, synonyms for borough: precinct, community. Okay, the ward of pointy-eared people. The ward of the ward of celestial. The ward of the celestial stair. Was exists in the mountain, a mile above sea level from the entrance to the forest. And the ward of the celestial stair is probably going to create another area that I'm going to need to write. Say, finally, the existence of the animal and where person species owe their existence to. I'm talking about the northern woods. To the northern woods. As the northern woods houses probably the most diverse area of fauna in Premestera. It's easy to assume maybe it's easy to infer that animals ascended. Animals, better than ascended. Animals, transform into, humanoids, whether through the will of an ascended being or due to the say, diverse application of lichen. Well, I need to come up with a better name than lycanthropy. Well, but I'll still write it for now. Lycanthropic curses. Curses have developed allowed the northern ones, well, okay. Whether through the will of an ascended being or due to the diverse application of lycanthropic curses. Say, oh, their point of origin to these, to the far-off reaches of these, wild interlands from east to west of the continent. So what else? Oh, Devin says a woo. Yeah, a woo. We're definitely talking about a woo here. I'm sure there needs to be more written than that, but I can't come up with it, and we're getting really, really close to the end of the stream. So, anyways, thank you everybody for joining on another episode of Brainy the RPG Cat. You know, we did make a significant amount of headway on this. I think we're about 6,500 words in from the beginning of this, which suggests that, you know, we have written 2,000 words since we sat down. You know, very good amount. So, you know, I'm going to continue to work on this. I'm also going to probably be alternating these streams with additional streams I'm going to be doing with Mimi from @ShyBunnyServant on Twitter. We're going to continue to work on more sections of the Baird's Wasteland, which is the books that we're going to be working on. So, thank you everybody for tuning in. I am very likely going to be back. Well, I'm going to be back tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to be back tomorrow because I am going to be doing Card Cat or Brainy. We're going to be opening some booster packs from Magic, and also a Sun and Moon gift set of cards that, you know, also includes a Alolan Vulpix starter set. So we're going to be doing all that tomorrow. It's probably going to be a slightly shorter stream, but it is still going to be a significant one. And then, well, we're going to be back Monday, and we're decide we're going to do Monday. Hold on a second. Okay, so one thing that I should really mention is that, once again, we are going to be having the Fractured Butthole 8-hour marathon for autism rights, supporting Autism Self-Advocacy Network. And that's going to be taking place on April Fool's Day, 2023, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on twitch.tv/Brainy the RPG Cat. It should be a fun 8 hours where we play through the majority of the Fractured Butthole and its DLC. And we're also going to be raising money for the cause of allowing autistic individuals to continue to advocate for themselves in a public forum. So, thank you everybody once again for tuning in. Yeah, so we're if you are willing to stay tuned with me, I think we should do a raid. Let me see. Who should we pay a visit to? Let's see. Give this one more save. All right. So, let me see. There we are. Okay. So, who would I like to pay a visit to? Let me see. Stella Cosmister is on. That should be interesting. They're in the middle of playing their weekly Dungeons and Dragons game. Grandpa VTuber is playing Yakuza. Let me see. Lieutenant Blythe is also in the middle of playing Dungeons and Dragons. I would like to visit his stream because, the great majority of his streams, take place in the morning where he's writing the RPG. And that's because, he takes place in the UK and there's an enormous time difference between the two of us. But he's on right now in order to facilitate a lot of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. And it's definitely worth our time to go over and pay him a visit. So we're going to go over to Lieutenant Blythe. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow for Card Cat or Brainy. Have a good night, everybody. And thank you very much for watching.